Grizz Nation? Welcome back into another Grizz Game Day update. It is playoffs, round 1, game 2 against the Lakers. Allie Clifton joins us again to talk a little bit about game 1. Looking forward to game 2. Allie, what was your initial thought watching game 1?
The Lakers stole home court advantage. I mean, just at the end of the day, right? I think at the end of the day, you have to win on the road to be successful in the postseason. And so to start off the first round for them in the fashion in which they did, they talked a lot about it. It was that sense of urgency out of the gate. It was coming with the energy, the right mindset and focus. And I think too, you look at that first quarter alone, they did just that. So when you go throughout the course of the game, we know this, it's all about weathering the storm, and especially in the postseason, not game to game, it's about adjustment. So we'll see how they're able to obviously carry this momentum over to game 2. But I think all in all, you saw great performances by a collective unit is how I want to kind of say that. I think a lot of people have their expectations for LeBron and AD, and that's what we talked about going into game 1 the other day. But when the others, and when you can do it as a team and a collective, and Austin, Rui, D'Angelo Russell, guys like that have their impact, make their mark. You get outcomes like you got for the Lakers. So can't complain after game 1.
Okay, so we're talking about Austin Reaves, and I have the box score here. He had 23 points, shot 3 for 5 from the 3, 8 for 13. Rui just was insane. He went 5 for 6 from the 3-point line, 11 for 14 overall for 29 points off of the bench. I think we talked a lot about AD and LeBron, like you said, going into game 1. And I think you're assuming the Grizzlies did that as well. It's 2 superstars on a team. Now, respectively, they had 22 and 21 points each. It wasn't a horrible game. They're obviously held to a higher standard, so it's like an game for them. But after the game, Desmond Bane went in his post game and was like, Rui and Austin, hats off to them. Let's see if they can do it again. It was like kind of like okay, you got us this time. Is this something that you've seen from the Lakers all season? Like, you're obviously with them for 82 games. Are these 2 guys the real deal? Can they do it 7 games?
You know, when it comes, I'll start with Austin, because we've actually been able to watch Austin up close, and we talk about it a lot for the last 2 seasons. And he is special. It starts with his IQ. It starts with his mental toughness. All the things outside of the court that he brings night in and night out. And I think it's put him in the position that he's in now to now show it on a bigger stage. Having said that, he's been consistent with it, and it's been fun to watch. He does all the little things. He's good with the basketball. He can score, he can play make. I think too, you look at his defense, something that a lot of people aren't talking about. He held as the primary defender there in the fourth quarter, whoever he was defending 0 for 5. I mean, those are the little things that complete him as a whole package. Am I confident he can continue to have an impact and put an imprint on the game for however long the Lakers go in the postseason? I am. And so that's for Austin. When it comes to Rui, he's someone that we're all seeing kind of for the first time in this position, obviously in a Laker uniform.
Yeah.
You actually go back and you look at some stats, and I found this telling over the last couple of days when we were doing our shows. He's been in 6 playoff games. He scored in double digits in all 6, and his last 3 have been 20 or more points. So when it comes to that scoring load, one, I think it's just been a matter of time for Rui. He made it clear in the post game the other night, he works out with Bron every day. And I use Bron as an example because I think there is a lot of contagious energy between the 2 of them on the floor. I think you saw it. Bron didn't hit his first 3, I don't believe, until Rui hit his 3rd. I think he's heard that message from Desmond Bane, and we'll see how he channels that going into game 2.
All right, let's talk about some of the Grizzlies guys, because I know everyone is here watching to see a jaw update. There will not be an update until before the game. He is a game time decision.
Kelcey.
I know. Everyone just like tunes out. He's a game time decision. So he will shoot around, see a team doctor today. He will go through warm-ups, see how his hand feels, and we will find out minutes before the game. But Jaren Jackson Jr. recently named Defensive Player of the Year. He was the team's highest scorer. He had 31 points. I could go on and talk about how much I loved watching Jaren. From the other side, what did you see from Jaren that poses a threat to the Lakers?
I think it's the force. I think it's the force he plays with. Obviously, defensively, it starts for him, but he's very fundamentally sound on the offensive end. And so his footwork, his ability to step out and hit the 3 ball, I think for the Lakers, if you do your work early and often, and you're not afraid to meet him consistently with force, you put yourself in a better position.
Yeah.
I think you have to understand too, depending on the availability of Ja and what even I would imagine from the outside looking into, that you prepare for him to be in game 2, Ja Morant, right? And that's what Darvin Ham said. Our plan A is that Ja plays. Our plan B is what adjustments we have to make going into game 2, just in general. And so they're preparing for him to be out there, but you know what you're going to get from Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that's what he has shown, his capability, his potential. And in game 1, the moment was not too big for him. Like, you talk about experience on one side of the coin versus the other. Jaren doesn't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to the postseason, but you never guess. And I think for a player to carry that within himself, but you can see that it translates to his teammates. So I just think handling his force, his energy, his consistent relentlessness to get to the glass, whether it's offensively or defensively, he's going to put pressure on you, and you just have to be ready to match it.
Yeah. Okay. Lastly, I want to talk about just a stat that I think personally is like, this is the battle you got to try and win for either team. And that is the rebounds. The Lakers in that game 1 won the rebounding battle 45-32. And I talked to you about this. It wasn't necessarily the offensive rebounds, which the Grizzlies have led the league in for most of the season. A lot of that has to do with Steven Adams, who is still out. That was semi-close, but the second chance points, the Lakers destroyed the Grizzlies. And so I want 22 second chance points for the Lakers, including the rebounding battle that was 45-32, like I just mentioned. Is that like, do you see the importance of that battle the same way I see that importance going into game 2?
Absolutely. Because as much as we want to sit here and talk about LeBron James only scoring 21 and Anthony Davis only scoring 22, which many players in this league would give to score 21 and 22 a night. Though that seems on the lower end, they were still efficient with it, 8 of 16, 10 of 17. But between the two of them, 23 boards. And so I think that sets a tone. That's where our Hall of Famer, Big Game James, on our post-game show, grabbed a whiteboard and wrote the word teamwork. Everyone has a role. You star in your role. And especially when it comes to the postseason, there are plenty of opportunities to be had throughout the course of a game. And I think when it comes to the rebound battle, they understand what the Grizz are missing, in a sense, right? Yeah, you do have Jaren Jackson Jr., but to your point, no Brandon Clark, no Steven Adams. Just the opportunity to take advantage down low. And it's something that the Lakers too, they haven't shot the 3 ball consistently all season long either. And so for them, getting downhill, getting in the paint, whether it's in the open floor or in their half court offense, they have to take advantage. And so you'd hope to see that margin in favor of the Lakers continue throughout this series, because it gives them that advantage. Anthony Davis was a beast. Like, say what you want about the scoring. He was a beast.
Didn't he have 7 blocks too? I don't have it on here, but
7 blocks. And so much of that work was done early, at the start of the game in the first quarter, just setting that kind of tone, and it trickles down. That's an attitude. That's a focus that I think the team really fed off of. And so you hope to see it carry on.
My very last thing, Allie, is I'm just pointing out the fact that the Lakers only had 14 turnovers, which obviously limits what the Grizzlies do so well in fast break points. The Lakers had more fast break points as well. So they really did beat them at the things that the Grizzlies usually do well. I'm going to ask you to finish this off. One X factor for game 2, that could be a stat, a player, just like in a single X factor for the Lakers, that if they do well, they could potentially be coming home to LA with 2 wins.
I think taking care of the basketball is certainly going to be a big one. It's all about adjustments for me. And I think, having watched playoffs up and close over the years, that's what I'm always intrigued with. Is you have to be ready for that next punch, right? And especially when you're on the road. Yeah, they took care of game 1, but you can't be satisfied. It is just one game. And so what are your adjustments? Are you going to be ready to take that first punch, weathering the storm? To your point, the Grizz, they've dropped game 1s in the past. Mm-hmm. So this isn't anything new for them. They've been able to respond. So are you going to be ready for that? But in terms of actual gameplay, I don't think the Lakers turned the ball over in the first quarter. That was huge to their 6-point lead right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. But I think they had 8 in the second. So to your point, as we know, the Grizz feed off of that. And so to be able to take care of the basketball and value possessions, don't give them free opportunities. It puts them in a good position, obviously carrying forth their mindset, their focus, their energy.